there been anything that is sticking out to you, or that you're kind of looking forward to about the future of this council? Maybe some directions that the Red Cross is looking to expand. Maybe it's not just in aquatics, but it reaches a larger community.
Yeah, so there's two subcommittees predominantly that we're focusing on. One of them is called the Mosaic Committee, which is trying to work closely with local community um, groups, especially from the different diverse backgrounds that are represented on the council, to try to get more inclusion in giving blood, which is something that affects all of our community members. Of course, there's always a need for more blood for transfusions, for health reasons. You can imagine even from injuries that take place from a variety of different reasons. So that's one of the areas where we try to engage and find that get more communities involved in donating their blood. The second committee is also about faith literacy that I participated in, was related to faith literacy, so that when community members are engaging with communities of faith, that they know how to engage further, utilize the right terminology, and so forth. So these are some of the different activities that are done on the advisory council. There's many more as well, but predominantly our main focus is to advise the executive committee on how they can do their current programming in the most inclusive way possible, to understand from the different groups that are represented on the council, how they could advise the executive committee and leadership on how to do so, with a lens on equity, on diversity, and inclusivity.
My question to you, Mr. Brown, is, in your opinion, what does DEI look like on the ground level? And can teams without specialized personnel like yourself implement strategies to enrich their local aquatics communities?
So let's start with the last question. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Clubs and teams without specialists can enact the values or the actions behind DEI.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how? We overcomplicate what DEI is. And I'm here to give three actions that simplify it.
Mm.
Now, there's a difference between the theory of a word and the practice of a word. How do I know? Nouns and verbs, nouns and adjectives, right? They're different. So these words that are diversity, inclusion, and equity, when said alone, they're separate words that mean something. Nouns, but we need to actualize them or actionize them, right? Actionize them is the word that
Yes.
I'm looking for. So we want to take these words that mean something, right? That can be defined theoretically, and then make them a practice. Well, how do we do so? I'm an etymologist. I just said I have an English degree, right? So this is where my English degree comes into effect. This is where I get to use it in DEI work. Now, as an etymologist, I know that certain words have synonyms. Those synonyms help you understand the word better.
Mm.
Now, we all say the same thing, we're just saying it in a different language. How do I know? So, if we take the word divide, for instance,
Okay.
I say divide, I can also say separate. In law, they usually use the word bifurcate.
Mm.
Oh, in medical field, they may say osmosis. Now I have four different ways to say the same word, right? And so when I take diversity, I first ask, what does it mean? What's the definition of diversity?
Um, and we are so fortunate at Diversity in Aquatics. I'm surrounded by very inspiring people, from the people on our board to our council chairs, and even people that we're connected to, that are all a part of the movement in aquatics to show joy in the
Mm-hmm.
water, and to show the what brings them that joy, right?
Mm.
And so for us, the water is a part of who we are, and our makeup is that I am a Black female swimmer,
Mm.
and I find joy every time that I go to the water, because there's so many things that challenge us in our environments, that
Mm-hmm.
says, oh, here is what you shouldn't be, or what you can't be, or your hurdles that you have to go. As a Black female, you're more likely to be this. As if you come from this neighborhood, you're more likely to be this.
Mm.
And for us, our presence is our narrative, and it is debunking those stereotypes every day.
Yeah.
I'm one of the few on my team to have an agent, to be like pushing my brand in the way that I am, to be trying to push myself to do stuff past sport, to do things past just a team, to be selfish in ways for the greater good, and like always bringing those resources that I find back to the team environment, which is like it's changing the narrative of our team, changing how we view ourselves as athletes, and getting closer to that elite athlete, like the definition, redefining that for ourselves, because we do identify as elite athletes, as we should, but we don't have access to the resources of elite athletes, in my
Mm.
opinion. So just pushing past those barriers that exist and creating a better space for women in our sport, creating more space for black people in our sport, and like building a good life for myself, because you have to be mindful of what you're doing for your community, what you're doing for yourself, and like the people around you.
If I can do it, you can do it. And so,
Absolutely.
especially with your help, especially with my help, especially with that network of all of us coming together to make something greater than we actually are, I think that's the way to go. So, my kudos to you and your organization.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Lieutenant Roland. Uh, any parting words for our Aquatics Nation, for our summit attendees today? Again, they're going to be going back to their facilities, to their programs, to their communities, and they're trying to bridge this gap. They're trying to include greater equity. Yeah, maybe their community is not very rich in swimming, right? Uh, but the
Mhm.
pool is there, and now it is accessible. The challenge they're facing, though, is I don't know how to get them to come. We've built it, it's here, but they are not coming. Any parting words of advice?
Well, there really truly has to be a community outreach, and you have to have buy-in from your community, and especially if knowing the history. Like for thousands of years, as I said, we were the greatest swimmers on this planet, and so that's the thing is education as far as letting them know what the roots are from swimming. We were the swimmers. We taught people to swim. We were on the coastal sides of the continent of Africa, swimming in the ocean, swimming in the rivers, and all that sort of stuff. So we need to reclaim that. And then there's always going to be challenges like here, challenges like, um, okay, by the way, basketball season is here, football season is here. So that'll pull them away from swimming and things like that. But the thing is, if you can do cross training in that and keeping them involved in the water aspect of athletics, then you get an even greater athlete. So
Mm,
that's the thing is that we have to make swimming an integral part of athletic training. Period.
mm,
That's my philosophy on that. As well as you have to get buy-in. You have to get buy-in from the organization. You have to get buy-in from the person and the people that you want to help as well. So you can't go anywhere in South Florida without going over some body of water. And so you need to make sure that you know how to swim and understand the concepts of water safety. So swimming methods and rescue techniques really do come in handy as far as everything in life.